Okay, so it's recording now. So this is great. It's good to be speaking with you, Eileen. I guess I just want to begin by introducing ourselves. So I'm Dr. Aline Rodrigues. I work at York Region CBT. It's a psychology clinic in Vaughan. And I'm having a chat today with Dr. Eileen Fast. She's a naturopathic doctor at a clinic in Ajax called Barefoot Health. And she's a dear friend of mine, and so we're going to be just having a brief chat today about stress and how it impacts our gut. I guess, there's since we have been going through this pandemic, right, Eileen? We have been having so many talks about stress and so many things that we can do to improve our health and diminish our stress. I guess I wanted to talk to you a bit about, our gut health, and then later we can talk about some foods as well in terms of eating habits, because I think we know a lot already about, exercising and some other ways of diminishing stress. So maybe we can concentrate on the food and eating for today, right? So can you tell us a little bit, Eileen, how is it that stress impacts our gut?
Well, I mean, when we talk about stress, we talk about, how it engages our nervous system, right? And our nervous system, our autonomic nervous system can be, generally divided into, the sympathetic system, which is the flight or fight, which a lot of people are in right now because there's so much uncertainty.
Yes.
We're always on the go, having to adjust to change constantly.
Yes.
What are the new regulations? What are the new restrictions? How are things loosening? We're always having to adjust, right?
Yes.
Even going to the grocery store is new. It's different.
Yes, and there's this perception of a threat, right? We feel so vulnerable with this uncertainty.
Yeah. But then on the other hand, there's the parasympathetic nervous system, which we call the rest or digest. Like literally the word digest is in there, right? Which implies right from the get-go that when we are in that flight or fight state, that the rest and digest can be compromised, right? So, something that I am hearing a lot about is, I feel like I have more indigestion, my bowel movements are not normal, I have more bloating, I have difficulty sleeping, it's a common thing right now during this time.
Yes. And it's interesting that it's a common it's a constant, I guess, a common symptom of anxiety too. How often we hear people saying, I feel anxious and stressed, and I feel like my guts are just, turning, or I have this fact, or I have butterflies in my stomach and things like that, right? Now, how does that then translate into what we talk when we hear about inflammation in the gut? This is because I'm assuming that when we're stressed, we do change our eating habits too. We crave foods that perhaps are not the most healthy for us. But how does that then translate into inflammation? Is it only food choice, or there's something else going on too?
Yeah, food choice is very important because definitely the comfort foods that we like, they usually are more the inflammatory foods. So I'm going to give you an example, like refined sugar, right?
Yes.
We all, can easily become addicted to sugar, and we like the immediate satisfaction. But sugar is definitely one of the more universally, inflammatory foods out there.
And I guess the one that we crave too when we're stressed, right? We want some comfort. We want that quick pick me up, and I guess sugar does that, right?
Yep, it gives our brain a nice hit of dopamine, but our gut is inflamed,
Oh, I see.
Food choice definitely can contribute, but then there's also the stress hormones, right?
Oh, I see.
So, for example, elevated cortisol can lead to inflammation too. Right. So then there's a double whammy there, right? And then there's a triple whammy. The third layer is that when we are stressed, then often our digestive juices, they don't flow as well. So stomach acids, bile acids, consumption. Yeah, because again, our body's trying to deal with the stress, so there's less resources to improve
Yes.
the
Yes.
digestive functions.
I
So
think
then,
it goes back to the idea, right? That, it's not time to digest, it's time
yeah,
to fight or fly or
exactly.
flee, right? Yeah.
Exactly. So then you're not breaking down your foods, even if you're eating good food, you're not breaking it down well. So then
Right,
that has an impact on absorption and just the way the gut functions. And that can lead
right,
to, other downstream effects. So there's a bit of
right.
like a 3-layer, issue there.
Yes, yes. Now, from my perspective here, when, we have, I have someone coming in for stress management and anxiety, we're,
Mhm.
we're usually looking at the direction, from the brain to the gut or the physical health in the sense of how our perceptions, our thinking, and
Mhm.
even our behaviors can impact, stress and physical health. But I guess the opposite is true as well, right? So can you tell us a little bit about that? How is it that then, our gut health can have an impact on maybe our mood and even increase anxiety at times, right?
Yeah, so there's a few things that can go on, and just to emphasize maybe two key things. So
Yes,
again, if we're not eating the right foods, then
yes,
there's less nourishment for the brain, right?
yes,
So there's
yes,
one. The other part is what I just mentioned about absorption, right? So if, again, if you're in that fight or flight state and your digestive systems are not working properly, then you're just, even if you're eating well, sometimes you're not absorbing it as well. So then again,
yes.
our brain is not as well nourished, and you don't get the building blocks you need for balanced, brain hormones and neurochemistry, right?
Right, right, right.
But then the inflammation itself, can also cause problems because we have things called cytokines, right?
Mm-hmm,
And they're little
mm-hmm.
signaling molecules that if there's inflammation in the gut, it can actually cause inflammation in the brain as well. And that can
Ah,
disrupt the
right.
hormones as well.
Right, right. So this is very interesting because then there is a way that we can do that we can try and have improve our mood by
Mhm.
improving our diet and taking better care, I guess,
Mhm.
of our gut, right?
Mhm.
So you've mentioned one thing about sugar. It seems like to be kind of that universal
Yeah,
bad food, I
yeah.
guess, right? How about the good foods? How are there universal good ones? Good foods that we can try and put more in our diet to improve mood and reduce stress.
Absolutely. So the obvious one that most people can probably answer even without me saying is vegetables, right?
Mhm,
Like
mhm.
especially like the greener the better, right? So green
Yes,
vegetables have, lots of anti-inflammatory properties, and they also aid in digestive function. So like that's not a
right,
coincidence.
right, right,
And then there's the healthy fats, right? So like olive oil, avocados, coconut oil,
right,
nuts and
right,
seeds, fish, like those types of foods.
right,
Um,
right.
Mostly processed foods are inflammatory, right?
So it's a no, right? It's on
Yeah,
the don't eat list, I
yeah,
guess,
yeah.
right? And Eileen, I guess yeah, in thinking about having, having more of these foods in our diets, is the damage of stress, and even when we think about inflammation, is it reversible? Like, I think the answer is yes, but is it fast? Does it take long? Can you tell us a bit about that?
It's absolutely reversible to a certain extent. Of course, some people have these chronic inflammatory conditions that,
Mhm.
are very difficult to reverse. But if it's acute, especially, over like a 9 to 10 week period because of COVID, let's say, then,
Yes,
it's definitely reversible. And again, it just depends on how long you've been dealing with the symptoms. But, it does take patience, of course. Anytime you're getting to the root cause, and you're really trying to make changes from the root up, it takes time, right?
right,
But at the
right.
same time, I have lots of patients who are amazed at how they had years of digestive discomfort due to stress,
Yes,
and how
yes.
quickly they are able to see a difference. So,
Wow, good, good. This
yeah,
is good news for
yeah.
us, right? That's great. Um, so I guess this is a good way to kind of wrap up our chat.
Mhm.
And perhaps next time we can talk a bit more about this now that we've talked a bit about foods, perhaps, we can kind of go into talking about supplements and maybe chatting a bit more about, this, I guess, all these microorganisms that are in our gut and can have an impact on our mood and our stress and anxiety levels. So maybe we can meet again for a part 2 soon.
For sure. I would love to.
Excellent. All right. It was good chatting with you. Thank you so much. And I'll hope to see you again soon.
Yeah, see you soon. Thanks for having me.
Thank you. Bye-bye.